If you can communicate competently, you're already ahead of 90% of people. Research shows that people with better communication skills get more jobs, make more money, and attract more women. Because when you're able to articulate your thoughts in a way that's comprehensive and convincing, people will understand you more and therefore like you more. Now, there's 3 main segments when it comes to developing your communication skills. And if you're able to master them all, you can literally get whatever you want. More career opportunities, jobs, women, money. Now, I put a lot of details into this video, so this will be the only video you will ever need on developing your social skills. And at the end, I'll tell you the exact exercises you need to practice every single day to actually master your social skills. This video will absolutely change your life, make you more confident, develop your social skills, so make sure you watch until the end. Starting with the first segment out of the 3 segments that make up your social skills, number 1 is your listening skill. You might think that to be a good communicator, you only need to be good at talking, but talking is only about 60% of it. If you're sitting at dinner with other people and all you're doing is talking, no matter how good of a communicator you are, it'll come off as self-centered and people won't be interested in you. Because a conversation in any setting needs a talker and a listener, and that needs to alternate. That's why one of the best things you can do when you talk to someone is refer back to something they said. And so, for example, if someone is talking to you and it's your turn and you start off the sentence with, "That's a very interesting point, and in my experience, ... With that simple sentence, just like that, the person you're talking to will be way more interested in what you're saying because now they're incorporated in your sentence. They see that, this guy listened to me and now he's gonna go off of what I said. One thing I often do when I'm talking in a group conversation is refer to a specific person. So while I'm talking and making my point, I would be like, "Oh, Eric, going back to what you said," and then I would add on top of that. Always pointing out people, referring back to what people said, makes people understand that you listen, so now whatever you say will be way more interesting. Now, to do this, you have to retain yourself from interrupting others. This used to be a big problem I had because I would get an idea and I didn't want to forget it, so then I would interrupt someone just to spill out my idea. But if you literally take it to the extreme in a conversation where all you're doing is listening, that person will think you're a great communicator because people want to be listened to. And here's a secret that I learned. The only reason someone will be interested in what you're saying is if it benefits them. So if you're listening to someone speak, they'll automatically be interested in you because they're gaining your attention. If while you're speaking you refer back to what someone said, they'll automatically be interested because now it has to do with them. You're going off of what they said and sharing your opinion. Even if you're telling a story, someone will only be interested in your story if it's intriguing to them. So if you want to be a good communicator, the secret is that it's not about you, but it's about the person you're talking to. I mean, the only reason you'll be a good communicator is if someone likes to listen to you. You have to make sure to essentially please that person, whether that be your boss, a girl you're interested in, a friend, etc. Now, once you've mastered the art of listening, you're able to extrapolate points that other people are saying, refer back to them, take the time and not interrupt anybody else, then speak. Now we go into segment number 2, verbal communication. Let's break this down. If you want to be a good communicator, you need to be confident in yourself, because if you're not confident in yourself, you won't be confident in what you're saying. If you are confident in yourself, you will be confident in what you're saying, and you'll portray that. If you're confident in yourself, it'll translate to the way you speak, the way your tone is, the way your body language is, your eye contact, and so people will naturally be way more interested in you. Now, there's 2 ways to develop the self-confidence that you need to have good social skills. Number 1 is your past experiences. If it's always been easy for you to make new friends and talk, that will make you confident in your ability to speak because you've done it before. And number 2 is if you're a high status individual, if you have a good career, if you have a lot of connections, if you have a lot of control, whether that be in your friend group, at the workplace, at school, because then you put yourself on a pedestal and you know that anything you say will be important to others, so it'll translate to the way you speak, but also you're a more important person to listen to, so people want to listen to what you have to say. It's the same reason why you would voluntarily click on a podcast of someone that is successful, like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, a celebrity, because they've achieved a certain status and you want to learn from them. So that is the first step, believing that what comes out of your mouth, people will want to listen to. The second step is the way you speak, and a few mistakes I know you're probably doing. Number 1 is that you talk too fast, and you do this because either you think people aren't interested in you, so you speed up what you have to say to get it over with, or you don't want to lose your train of thought, so you speed up your words as fast as your thoughts are racing. Second mistake that you might be doing, and probably one of the most common mistakes, is simply saying too much. You include way too many details than you have to. Instead of being clear and concise, you tend to veer off your story and what it is you're saying, so you lose the listener. People become uninterested in what it is you're saying. Or the third mistake is too much I. You talk too much about yourself, and I'm going to tell you right now, people aren't interested as much in you as you think they might be. Now, I'm sure you're probably doing at least one of these mistakes, so here's how to avoid it. First thing is, before engaging in a conversation, determine your goal. What am I trying to say right now? Are you trying to add value to what they said? Are you trying to prove a point? Are you trying to convince them of something? And whatever that goal is, stay on that track. You don't have to veer off and say a bunch of random stuff. And the second solution that a lot of people have to practice, and it's something that I struggled with, is talking slowly. I used to struggle with this because with my content, I would talk very fast because I know how the algorithm works and I want to retain people's attention. So I talk really fast so I don't lose them. And it's the same mindset when you're in a conversation. You don't want to lose their interest, so you tend to talk really fast. But the benefits of talking slowly is that number one, you come off as more confident with what it is you're saying. Number two, you're more clear and concise with your words. And number three, you don't lose your train of thought and you actually get it together. Now, social skills is not just about your mouth and your ears. You need to use your other tools, your other weapons. And that's where segment number 3 comes in: non-verbal communication. Body language is a language on its own. If I was making this whole video with my arms crossed and not even looking at the camera, you would lose interest right away. Same goes in a conversation. You need to use your tools. Your hand and your body language shows a visual to what it is you're saying, and the eye contact makes for a personal connection. And I actually had a very recent experience with this. So the other day I was at dinner and I was telling someone a story. I realized that I wasn't maintaining eye contact with them, and because of that, they were losing interest in what I was saying. Now, as soon as I realized I was doing that, I started maintaining eye contact with them, still saying the same story, and just like that, they became way more interested in my story and they were asking me questions about it. So the same things were being said. It was the exact same story. The only thing I changed was me maintaining eye contact instead of avoiding it. Now, the rule of thumb when you're maintaining eye contact is 80-20. 80% of the conversation you maintain eye contact, while 20% of the conversation you don't when you're gathering a thought or you're thinking of something. As for your body language, as for your hands, a simple trick: keep them out of your pockets or prevent from crossing them, and they will naturally move as you speak. Now, everything I just said about all these 3 segments, you might very well understand it, but it doesn't mean you'll be a good communicator. Because with anything in life, to be great and to be better and to improve in something, you have to practice it. So here are a few exercises you need to start practicing every single day. First thing is something called exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is where you consistently expose yourself to something you're scared of so that over time you become more confident and comfortable with it. So in this case, we apply exposure therapy to social skills and socializing. So you're scared to initiate conversations, you're scared to talk to people, so make it a habit for you whenever you go out, whether you're at school, whether you're ordering a coffee, you're out in public, wherever you are, to spark a conversation up with a stranger. Now, this can be as simple as you ordering a coffee and just having a little chit chat with the barista. How's your day going? I love your hair. Or if you're at school and you see someone sitting alone, you go up to them. Hey, do you mind if I sit here? You sit down, you join them, you start a conversation with them, you get their name, you ask them how they are. Something that you would usually never do, but now because you're trying to improve your social skills, you're exposing yourself to social setting. And a little secret, something you need to engrave in your head, is that people are open to being talked to. The same way, if someone came up to you in public and sparked up a conversation with you in a good, polite way, you wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that. If anything, it would be charming to you, getting to know someone else, telling them how you are. It's something that we all want, but we're scared of doing. Number 2, one of the best things you can do is journaling. Dedicating 10 minutes every day to journaling and letting your thoughts out on a piece of paper. Now, it's simply about the action of writing. What you write about is up to you. You can write about your thoughts, an experience you went through, something you want to work on. But the reason it's so beneficial is because when you're journaling, you're really paying attention to what it is you're writing. So it forces you to be articulate with your words. But the main reason it's extremely beneficial is because when you're writing, it moderates the speed at which you think of your words. Because you know, when you're texting, you can text extremely fast, way faster than a rate you would usually talk at. But when you're writing, it forces you to write at a speed that is slower at which you speak at. So it trains your thoughts, it trains your words to become slower, more moderate, and more articulate. The third thing you can do, and something that has helped me out a lot, is simply listening to podcasts, listening to a conversation. I do this at night when I'm trying to wind down. I put a podcast on, or whether I have a long car ride, I put a podcast of something I'm interested in. When you listen to a podcast and you listen to a conversation, you learn a lot from it. Not only are you learning more about a new topic, which makes you more interesting as a person, but you also learn new words and grammar you can then apply to your own vocabulary. And the fourth, and probably the most effective one, is listening to yourself speak. For example, if you're at the gym and you're trying to improve your bench press form, what are you gonna do? Set up the camera, record yourself so that you can look at it afterwards and correct what you're doing wrong. Now, it's the same thing with speaking. You record yourself speaking, you look back at it afterwards, and you analyze what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and you adjust it so that you become more articulate and you improve your vocabulary. vocabulary. Because what you'll notice when you record yourself is that you do have a lot more filler words. You tend to say like or a lot more often. Maybe you tend to talk too fast. A lot of these things that you usually wouldn't notice, but because you're recording yourself and analyzing the way you speak, you notice them and you can fix them. Speaking is your tool to influence others. It's the only way you'll have a good career. It's the only way you'll get a good girlfriend. It's the only way you'll make friends. And so it's a very important factor in life. And if you want to grow as a person and improve in your life, you have to master your social skills. And that's why in my private community, the S class, I have a social skills guide coming soon, putting everything that has personally helped me to develop my social skills into one program for you. Now, the S class is my private community connecting a bunch of like-minded individuals all over the world who are trying to become the best version of themselves. I have my workout programs there, my nutrition guides, we do calls every week, and now I have my social skills guide coming out soon. So if you want to get early access to it, the link is in my description or the pinned comment at the top. Now apply these things, understand these things, and I guarantee you, you will become a better communicator.